Ladies and gents, and the rest, today we're going to be looking at all three talents of the 5 minis that are mentioned in the title. The reason why I want to make this type of videos is because when you pick a talent, you read the description and it doesn't really explain what exactly is going to happen. Sometimes you think that, oh, this sounds good, I'll take that. And then, a couple of weeks later, everybody tells you that, oh, it's the worst talent, it's garbage, don't ever take it. Da, 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 da. And as you know, the picking the right first talent is very, very, very important in this game, right? Because the next talents are going to cost you way more gold. So we're going to look at all three talents. I'm going to explain to you why this talent is better or worse. And the most important thing, I'm going to do a video demonstration of each talent. That's pretty much what the game doesn't have, right? And if you think you know better than I do, at least you know what it looks like. Okay, let's go. We're going to start with Rend, because Rend is the hero, is the best option to kill Onyxia with. That's why you have to have epic Rend by the time you finish heroic campaign anyway. That's why Rend is going to be number one. Talent number one, Scale and Steel. Gain a resistant while flying and armored while dismounted. What does that mean? That means that when the Drake is alive, you get 50% less from elemental attacks. When Drake dies and you play as Rend, you get 50% less from the physical damage. Here's what it looks like on the video. I know it looks pretty idiotic. The reason why I made the footage look this way is because I had to cut out all the little fights around. That's why it's like, yeah, it looks like this with the Drakes. So I'm going to also show you the screenshots about the difference that having this talent makes. So as you can see, it's the exact same fight, and this is Rend with Scale and Steel talent. This is Rend without it. So what happens is when this Rend already lost his Drake, this Rend killed everybody and is still on the Drake, because range skeletons attack with magical damage and they couldn't even kill the Drake. So that's the difference that it makes. It always gives you value. And this is the HP difference when the Rend is on the ground. So armored Rend, as you can see, gets way less damage from the tower's attack. This is the Rend without armored trait. So like literally he gets 2 times more damage than this Rend. Talent number 2, Flaming Soul. Cast Living Bomb upon dismounting, damaging nearby enemies. Here's what you need to know about this talent. So this circle you're looking at is the radius of Living Bomb. So when the Drake dies, this thing happens, this animation, it blows up, and everybody that is inside of this circle will be hit with Living Bomb. Now on the left side, you have the Living Bomb hits one enemy. On the right side, yeah, it doesn't hit anybody. And take a look at the difference. So on the left side, when you hit one little enemy with Living Bomb, it kills everybody. On the right side, it's the exact same fight with the exact same units, the exact same encounter. Nobody dies, and your Rend dies. So the difference is, see, on the left side, it hits meat wagon and everything, just boom. So what I'm trying to say here is that this talent is very situational. Sometimes you can get enormous amount of value, sometimes you get 0 value. And the third talent, Legionnaire. Dismount when first taking damage, the Drake continues fighting. I have never, ever, ever seen a use case for this talent. It's completely useless. Now take a look at what's happening on screen. The problem with this talent is that it allows your enemy to start hitting your Rend before the Drake even dies. Which means if you don't have a talent, no, let's do it this way. Okay, so right now Huntress hit the Drake once, and the Rend is now on the ground. By the time Rend hits the Huntress, the Drake will die. because it takes 2 hits to kill a Drake. Whether it's Huntress or Dark Spirit Troll, it doesn't matter. First of all, the idea doesn't work at all, and the Drake dies right away anyway. Second, let's take a look at some other context when, for example, your Drake is flying and somebody hits your Drake with Arcane Blast level 1, which means now your Drake and your Rend walk together. That means that now, if I save pilot the Drake, I will also save pilot Rend. If you don't have any talents on your Rend, you are even better than having this talent, because if you don't have any talents, the enemy has to kill Drake first before the enemy can start damaging your Rend. That's how bad this talent is. It makes you worse than not having any talent. And in this case, we can easily call this talent a debuff, not a talent. It doesn't make you better, it makes you worse. And obviously, take a look at the difference between Legionnaire Rend and the Scale and Steel Rend. So, what do we take? Number one, we always take Scale and Steel first. All the time. It's useful in any situation, always works. You get value in any fight. Number two, Flaming Soul, like I said, in some situations, maybe in some PvE encounters or in some PvP metas in the future, we'll be able to get a huge value out of it. Right now, it's very situational. Like I said, if you don't get in the range of Living Bomb, it's pretty much like Rend with no talents, right? But if you do, it can delete the whole screen. So this Flaming Soul is that's how I would go. And obviously Legionnaire, it's not a talent, it's a debuff, and you would only take it just to have extra level on Rend, right? Because when you buy a talent, it gives you 1 extra level. So Scale and Steel, Flaming Soul, Legionnaire. Execute. Savagely slice through enemies, chopping off half of their maximum health in 1 swipe. So the good thing about this spell is that it affects the towers the same way. So it takes half of the tower's HP, no matter how much HP tower has. Here's the first talent, Bloodthirsty. Bloodlust allies within spell area for 10 seconds. This is what it looks like. Boom. So the wolf is bloodlusted as well, and he doesn't even bother to kill the tower. He leaves it for skeletons, okay? You see how it works? Boom. This is one of the best and meta strategies all the time in PvP. This is what it looks like. As you can see, easy to execute. If you cast, you don't even have to damage anybody. You can just use it as a Bloodlust on demand. Absolutely great talent, easy to use. Beautiful. Next talent, Killing Spree. If an enemy is killed, the next Horde mini costs 1 gold less. So the way it works is, if your execute kills at least 1 unit, your next Horde unit costs 1 gold less. As you can see on the screen, execute itself is a Horde unit, and it costs 1 gold less if it kills anything. So a lot of people don't understand that you always get a value from this talent, even if you don't have any other Horde units, right? They just forget that execute itself is a Horde unit. All you have to do is just kill 1 unit, which means somebody that has at least 49% of their HP. You kill them, and you get a value from this talent. Extremely good. Used in a lot of combinations with Jaina and other stuff. Next talent, Overpower. Knock enemies away from the cast location. So basically what it does is it just adds a little bit of crowd control and pushes things away, as you can see. There's not a lot of use cases for this. I can't say it's completely useless, but there is not a lot of use cases, and other talents are actually much, much better than this. So what do we take? Number 1, Bloodthirsty, because again, you can use it as a Bloodlust on demand. Number 2, I would go with Killing Spree, because there is a lot of synergy between Execute with Killing Spree and, for example, Jaina with certain talents and, things like that. And by the way, Killing Spree is the talent that people use when they kill Onyxia with Jaina. That's what you use, Killing Spree. And Overpower is number 3. Can't say it's completely useless, but it doesn't really change the situation. In the very rare cases, it's going to be useful, but the other 2 talents give you way, way more value, and you know exactly when you need one of those. Overpower is kind of like a little bit of everything. Baron Revender. Chill of the Grave. Summon skeletal mages instead of warriors. Skeletal mages give you a lot of value. They slow things. They do, on average, more damage than melee skeletons because, they attack from range, right? And in PvP, this is probably the best trait that the hero has in the entire game, that any hero has, because you get to use these ranged skeletons without even playing Baron. That's how good it is. And as you can see, they give you a lot of value. They slow and damage things, and they also help a lot in PvP. They slow kobolds, they slow gargoyles, the ones who like to run death ball strategies. You have one skeletal mage, it will ruin the whole composition. Great talent. Next talent, Death Pact. Periodically sacrifice a nearby skeleton to be healed. This is an amazing talent that heals Baron on full. If there is a skeleton nearby, it works as a, I would say, food for Baron. The cooldown of that Death Pact ability is 10 seconds, as you can see, boom. And the range is very, very long for this spell. So this is a great talent that increases the ability to tank for Baron by a lot. Skeletal Frenzy. Nearby allied skeletons gain Bloodlust. Now let's take a look at how it works. There we go. This, you see the skeleton is red now? This is how close you have to be to Baron to be affected by the Bloodlust. I mean, how close a skeleton has to be. So what happens is, this Bloodlust works the exact same way as Grom's Bloodlust, which means if you are in the area of Baron, you get Bloodlusted. If you get out of this area, the Bloodlust disappears. Because, for example, if Ogre Magi Bloodlusts you, or you get Bloodlusted by Execute with a talent, the Bloodlust lasts 10 seconds. In case of Baron and Gromash, Bloodlust disappears as soon as you get out of the area of the hero. Bloodlust gives you plus 33 attack and movement speed. And that is how it works. The main problem with this talent is you have to be very, very, very close to Baron. So what do we take? We take Chill of the Grave as a first talent, 100%. This is the best talent, like I said, one of the top talents, S-tier talents in the entire game, for PvE, for PvP, for everything. Because this talent, first of all, it's great in terms of value. Second, it doesn't even require Baron to be on the battlefield. Like you just get the skeletons for free from every single summoning stone in every single tower. And 2 come out of your core every 18 seconds. Number 2, I would go with Death Pact, because with Death Pact there is not a lot of, but few good strategies. And like I said, it gives, you pretty much have heal on demand. If you have the cheapest skeletons with you, you just deploy him near Baron and he heals to full. And Baron is a tank, he's really strong, he's very fast, and if he can be healed, he can do a lot of damage. And number 3, Skeletal Frenzy. Again, this talent is not even, it's very weak. Again, you would take it only to increase the level of your Baron. It doesn't really have a lot of strategies with that. Completely useless at the moment. So, Chill of the Grave, Death Pact, and Skeletal Frenzy. That's how I would go. General Drakkisath. Talent number 1, Chromatic Scales. Grants nearby allies the resistant trait. Unfortunately, there is no way to show you the video demonstration because it's just impossible to make AI hit me with the unit I want on demand. I'm just going to explain to you how it works on this screenshot. So everything in this circle around Drakkisath gets a resistant trait, which means you only get half of a magic damage if you are in this circle. This shaman, for example, if Safe Pilot drops on this shaman, it will survive. If in the exact same situation without this talent, if Safe Pilot drops on the shaman gets one-shotted. That's how big of a difference this talent makes. It's an amazing talent, but you will only see the effect of this talent when, like I said, something like Safe Pilot drops on the unit that would be one-shotted by Safe Pilot without this talent. Piercing Blows. Attacks pierce through enemies in the line. You will see that Drakkisath hits one unit behind. As you can see, the radius is not super huge. But if you're playing against like footmen or grunts like that, might be helpful. Don't forget that Drakkisath hits with magic damage. Even though he's a melee attacker, it looks like he's hitting with physical damage. But no, it's magic damage. And yeah, this is how it works. Next talent is Lasting Legacy. On death, drop a banner. Nearby enemies take 50% additional elemental damage. Lasts 10 seconds. So what happens is when Drakkisath dies, he drops the banner. As you can see, whoever is in this radius will get 50% extra elemental damage for 10 seconds. It's pretty much like it's like Drakkisath's presence, right? So for those who don't know, Drakkisath's trait is that whoever is around Drakkisath gets extra 50% elemental damage. So this is pretty much the same thing. When he dies, you can still drop some spells in that area or use some magic elemental attackers like Safe Pilot, for example. You can Safe Pilot in this area and you're going to hit 50% harder. That's how it works. So what do we take? Number 1 is Chromatic Scales, 100% the best talent out of 3, much better than the other 2. So the most popular strategy with Drakkisath is Drakkisath and a Shaman. If you take this talent, Shaman will this combo will pretty much be unkillable. Like if you Blizzard that, Shaman is not gonna die. If you Safe Pilot that, Shaman is not gonna die. And things like that. That creates a huge disbalance in PvE and PvP as long as Drakkisath is alive. Number 2, I would take Lasting Legacy. Not that if it's super useful, but it's just better than Piercing Blows. It has some use, and when Drakkisath dies, again, nobody ever uses that, but it has potential at least. When the raids come out, we don't know. Maybe you'll be able to escort Drakkisath somewhere, have him dead, and then just cast a lot of spells in that area and have some value out of it, right? And number 3 is Piercing Blows. The radius of this talent is super tiny. It's just not worth taking. I don't know why it's so bad. I'm used to this third talent always being bad for every unit in this game. So yeah, Piercing Blows, again, last talent, just to get extra levels. Banshee. The first talent is Will of the Necropolis, fully heal the possessed target. There's not much to say, as you can see. You steal the target, and no matter how much HP is left, it's gonna be in full. Next talent is Unholy Frenzy. Possessed target gain Bloodlust for 10 seconds. That's pretty much a normal duration of Bloodlust. 10 seconds every time somebody gives you Bloodlust. It's 10 seconds always, whether it's Ogre Magi or Execute. And the last talent is a Soul Eruption. Possessed targets detonate on death, damaging nearby enemies. There's two things you need to know about this talent. Number one, it damages flying units. Watch, bam, you see? So the Drake got damaged. Number two, when it blows up, it has a huge radius. Let me show you. Up. Okay, I caught it. So this is the radius that is going to be covered when the target blows up. So if it doesn't matter if it's a molten giant or a chicken, it's going to do the same amount of damage and it's going to cover this whole circle. So it's pretty big. Now, what do we take? Number one, hands down, is Will of the Necropolis. Fully heal the possessed target. That's how it usually works. Sometimes, things never go your way, and sometimes the unit that you're gonna steal gets damaged. Sometimes the unit starts attacking your core, and you don't have Banshee yet. You don't have enough gold. So when you actually steal this unit, the unit is healed in full, and that's the best talent pretty much in every situation. Number two, I would take this. You can do a lot of damage if in certain situations. It kind of reminds me of Rend's Living Bomb talent. So sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's useless, things like that. And the number three, it's Unholy Frenzy. The problem is that the Bloodlust only lasts for 10 seconds. That's why if you steal something, by the time this something gets somewhere, Bloodlust is going to end. And it's pretty much going to be like talentless Banshee, right? So the other two talents work all the time, and Holy Frenzy only lasts for 10 seconds. So I think it's obvious. Number one is Will of the Necropolis. Number two is Soul of Eruption. Number three is Unholy Frenzy. I have enough units for like 3 or 4 videos like that. Eventually, we're gonna have all the units with all the talents done, so people could just use it as an archive. Just open it, find the unit that you want, see the talents, decide for yourself what you like, or listen to me, right? That's all.